applicant
I
on
think,
this.
I think Cynthia's gonna, or Steve
Sorry.
will probably have to call it to
Yeah,
order.
we'll do the official call to order.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay, sorry.
It's all good.
Hi, Dory. So I guess we'll call the meeting of the Development Project Review Committee. It's 8:01. And with that, we'll turn it over to the applicants for their presentation.
Good morning. Sorry for jumping the gun on that. Dory Famigletti, representing the applicant in connection with the property at 106 Stores Road. I believe you've probably seen the application materials, at least with reference to the zoning application. We do have two pending applications before the town. One is a related wetlands application, and then we have the special permit site plan request for the zoning approvals. Basically, this is going to allow for the redevelopment of the existing car dealership and auto body repair shop up at 106 Stores Road. It's Champagne Motors. What the applicant proposes is to basically remove about half the existing building and then refurbish the balance of the building so that there will be a continued car dealership and car repair shop on, is that the north end, I think, of the site, correct, Matt? Just make sure I have my distances right. Notice when you're looking at the plan to the left, but I think it's to the north. And then on the south end of the site, what the client proposes is to build a 3-unit development for a mix of office space and restaurant space. That will be a brand new building. And there were a couple of iterations. We had a previous application pending where we had 4 units. We ran into some issues with that. And then the tenancies also changed. So we had withdrawn that application, and this is a revised plan. So we've got the 3 units now, the northerlymost of which is a fast food restaurant with a drive-through, a limited service drive-through window. It's not a full service. The regulations were revised recently at my client's request to allow for drive-through services. And in that regulation amendment, we defined both full drive-through and limited drive-through. Full being, you drive up to a menu board, you order, you then drive around, pick up your food, pay. A limited service is no menu board, no ordering. It's really pickup only. I don't even think that there's payment at the window. I believe you just order and pay online and just drive up and pick up. So that's the northerlymost unit. The middle unit is another casual, I don't know if you would call that fast food or not, but casual dining place. And then the southerly unit, thank you, Matt, for doing that. The southerly unit is a medical office building. So again, this is slightly different than our prior plan, which had 4 units, but now we've got it scaled down with our tenancies to 3. We have access proposed, yes, and then Matt is outlining right now where the car dealership and auto repair shop will remain. So that's roughly half of the existing building. The existing entrance to the dealership will remain. We will also be doing a new entrance to the 3-tenant building, immediately aligned across from the stoplight with Eastbrook Mall. So we will just be adding another leg to that existing intersection, which I think is the best case for all maneuvers. We do have a supporting traffic report and what have you to go along with that. And we are working with, obviously, the state DOT in order to get the necessary approvals. For your purposes, I did put together a little bit of information, just kind of guessing that you might want to know a bit about what type of employee generation we're going to have and perhaps tax generation. If there's other specifics you want me to hit on, I'd be happy to. Did I give you enough of an overview now to get into those elements, or is there something specific else that you want me to cover?
I'll just interject, Dory, that the town has hired peer review consultants to look at the stormwater, parking, traffic, lighting. So we are working with the applicant to just review it and make additions to that plan, to these plans.
Yeah,
You know,
this
and as long
is
as
super helpful. This is a great overview.
Okay, one other thing, I guess I want to just chat about, because I know that Jennifer had mentioned you're going to be a little bit interested in just how this plays into the big picture of the town and your goals and desires, and also some movements and to have a better pedestrian friendly area in town. So let me just talk about that for a second. I know you're going to want to see some of our streetscape improvements and pedestrian amenities. When we worked on the regulation amendment to allow for drive-throughs, we worked with the commission, and the commission, I think, by adopting the regulation, recognized that when you have a drive-through, it obviously is going to have a little bit of a offset for the pedestrian amenities. You know, it's an auto-oriented use, but we still want to try and make this as walkable and pedestrian-friendly as possible. So although, such as in your store's center, special design district, you want all of your buildings up on the road. You really want to establish that street line. We see this PB1 area, PB1, right? To be a different part of town and a different character than stores downtown. Obviously, it is close to the intersection with Route 6. It's on, you know, some major thoroughfares through town, state highways through town. And the existing development is not all up on the street line. And there's a lot of existing development that although there could always be redevelopment like we're proposing here, you know, the Staples and Hoop Plaza up down to the south is significantly pushed back from the street line. Obviously, Eastbrook Mall is across the street. And then when you look to the north of our site, McDonald's is as well. So we didn't think that holding the street line here on a redevelopment would be in keeping at all, number one, with the existing area. And number two, it wouldn't accommodate what we know we have for potential tenancies with a drive-through, because really in order to allow for the appropriate traffic circulation, we have to push the building back from the street line. So in our regulation, we did give the commission some discretion and authority to allow for us to push the building back and not hold the street line, as long as we provided some other type of pedestrian amenities to offset that impact. So things that we have done are things such as extending sidewalks along the whole frontage there, making sure that we maintain at least an attractive streetscape. To, you know, the literature that I was provided by Linda Painter previously was, you know, enhance and activate the streetscape, enhance and activate the street line. So we're trying with our architecturals to really beef that up and make it a very attractive entrance, so that you know, anyone who does happen to be walking there just is invited right on. We also have a bike rack, and we also have provided for outdoor dining space for both of the restaurants. So all of those are factors to be considered by the commission in allowing us to, again, push the building a little further back. Oh, I'm sorry. One other thing is they can only allow for the pushback if, again, it's consistent with adjacent properties and the setback there. And again, I feel like we're holding true to what the established development in that area looks like. So with that in the background, at some point, Matt, if you want to put up an architectural rendering or something so they can maybe see a little bit of that detail that we were just talking about, I'll let him put that up and you can look at it as I continue talking. So as I mentioned, we are planning on cutting off about half of the existing car dealership and repair building, but we will be retaining most of those services. They'll be doing still dealership, you know, sales, and just a little bit less repair than what they existing do. So there will be a little bit of a loss of employees with regard to the body shop and repair workers. Our client estimates that maybe 4 or so repair workers will be eliminated by just the reduced volume they'll be doing there. But again, there will be a bit more in sales. And to make up for that, we expect to be hiring a total of about 42 employees to service the 3 new tenancies. Now, those will not all be full-time. Many of them will work in shifts and will be part-time. But for the northernmost restaurant unit, we're looking at about 16 total employees. For the middle restaurant use, we're looking for about 14 employees. And for the office, we're looking at about 12 new employees. That's a total of 42. When you net it out with the 4 lost jobs, we're looking at a net gain of about 38 employment opportunities. Not all of those employees, just so you know, will be all working at once. So we don't expect to have to accommodate parking for all of those. Again, they'll be working in shifts and some will be part-time. We expect maybe about a dozen or so parking spaces to be used up by employee parking at any given time. So that's a little bit on the employment end of things. Yeah, Matt's still showing you some good pictures right here. That's the new proposed intersection. This is looking from East Brick Mall across at the proposed development. And then this is coming north on 195. You see it, so it's kind of, if you in this back corner off to your right would be the Hoot and Staple. As you're walking up along the sidewalk towards the building, we've got a nice stone wall along the frontage with some treescape there. As we come down our frontage, that again, that sidewalk extends all the way past past the dealership, you know, all the way down. And I'm not sure if it is existing in front of McDonald's or not. Do you know the answer to that, Matt or Jennifer? Is the sidewalk existing in front of McDonald's right now?
I am not sure. I think.
Okay, it doesn't look like it.
No.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we'll be extending it up at least to our property line right there. Thank you, Matt. I lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
I think you were going to talk
Um,
about taxes, Dory.
Yes, taxes, thank you. The existing building right now is assessed at, I want to say $1.4 million, I think when I looked it up yesterday. And that's just for the existing dealership. Tax on that at your current mill rate is just over $40,000. Based on my client's estimate of construction costs and value upon completion, the total fair market value, let's start with, for the redeveloped parcel. By the way, we're not subdividing this parcel. We are going to condoize it. So we're going to have 2 separate condo units, the northerly unit being the dealership, the southerly unit being the new 3-unit mixed use development. So there's no subdivision there. But there will be 2 separate tax bills at some point, because as a condo, they still have to, the assessor still has to break it out because there's separate legal ownership. But let's just talk full numbers now, because we don't know exactly how that'll be apportioned. My client's estimating about $8 million fair market value post redevelopment, which would equate to a 5.6 million assessment. And the tax on that would be just over 170. So we're looking at about $125,000 increase in the grand list on a yearly basis, just for real estate taxes. I didn't get into any personal property tax analysis. So we think that the use works well. It's provided for in the zone, so it's consistent with the zone. It's consistent with what you have along there. You have a lot of restaurant and office and retail uses. We think that the design is much improved from our first iteration, which had, candidly, we had with the 4 units, we had 2 drive-throughs, 1 limited service and 1 full service on either end. There were some initial concerns from peer review and from staff. It was just a little bit cramped with a traffic circulation. It also had our drainage structures much closer to the wetland. I think this design and this use is overall better. We've maintained a much bigger buffer from the wetlands. We've moved all of our drainage underground, so we don't have above ground structures right up to and within the buffer of the wetlands. And we've also, I think, vastly improved our traffic circulation on site, and consequently going off site by eliminating the 2 drive-throughs and having just the 1 limited service. So I talked a lot. Why don't I open it up to questions?
I had a question, Dory, if
Yes.
that's okay, Steve and Lee. It sounds like the tenants have potentially been identified. Do you know when those might be made public?
You know what? I did ask my client if I was able to make them public for this meeting, and I don't think we have the ability to do that yet. They have been identified. I don't know exactly when I can make them public, but I can tell you that they are nationally recognized. And one is a medical office, more specifically a dental office, and the other two are not coffee shops, but restaurants.
That's great. Yeah, no, I certainly respect the confidentiality. Thank you.
Dory, with
So,
respect
you know,
to
when I
the-
say it's not coffee shops, I think, and this probably isn't so relevant here, but Jennifer, that's going to be relevant to something that you and I will talk about. We talked a little bit yesterday about timing deliveries to be off-peak hours. Morning is a fairly off-peak hour for, I think, both of these restaurant users. So they're not, you know, as I said, they're not coffee shops with high volume between 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. kind of timing.
Dory, this all sounds fantastic. Increased employment opportunities, huge impact on the grand list. Definitely wonderful streetscape improvements. Can you talk at all about if there'll be any impact to the neighborhood that borders it to the east, I guess?
Yes, so, you know, Matt, chime in if you'd like, but that was another thing that I think is vastly improved with this revised plan. Again, our prior plan showed clearing pretty much up to the rear property line and along the wetlands edge. And we do have residences back there, although most of the houses are not like pushed up to their rear property line. So there's a fair distance there too. So that prior plan did have clearing much closer up to the wetlands line, and we had some above ground stormwater basins there. Now with this revised design, we're able to maintain a chunk of the existing fairly established wood tree line. And we are also going to be installing a fence along the entire perimeter, Matt, or just behind the new 3 units? I can't recall. You're on mute, Matt.
It'll have to be along the rear of the entire development with that addition of the new retaining wall. So it'll be additional screening and you know, noise attenuation because of expanded buffer that we have and the addition of the privacy fence that we're intending to install as well.
Right. And there's Stephen, just so you know, there's a regulation that says when we have a commercial development abutting a residential development, the rear yard setback is increased to, I believe, 50 feet. Is that what we're holding there, Matt, and showing on our zoning table? I think it's 50 feet. So we do have an increased setback to help protect from the potential conflict with the abutting different residential zone.
Great.
So,
Thank you
so
very
between
much.
the existing vegetation and the fence, and also, you know, as you can see, as Matt's outlining right here, is that the 50-foot buffer that you're outlining, Matt?
That's the fence.
Oh, that's the fence. Okay. Oh, and then can you just show them the 50-foot buffer line? Is that-
It is, I'm running out of colors here. Hold on.
I know.
There you go.
There you
Cyan,
go.
roughly there.
Right.
Awesome.
Now the storage lot to the rear of the auto dealership, I'll just note that is only storage lot. That's not active parking for any users of either the dealership or the repair shop or the 3 new tenancies to the south. So there's not going to be a lot of activity going on there. It's really just a storage lot. So I think that kind of minimizes some conflicts. There's not too much happening there. You're not going to see a lot of lights pulling in and pulling out at night and a lot of commotion and traffic going through that section. Does that answer your question, Stephen?
Yeah, sorry. So the 2 lots that Matt just drew the circles on, those are just storage of vehicles?
I'm not sure about both. I know that the one closest to the rear yard, Matt, is the more northerly of the two. Is that just storage also, or?
Yeah,
Inventory?
Steve, yeah, it's just inventory, right,
Okay.
of new cars. Obviously, there'll be a little bit of, they have repair cars as well as they move them in and out of the shop. So those two lots will be dedicated to the car dealership.
Awesome.
So
That's very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, so that's impact to the butters to the east. And just general impacts to other surrounding abutters and properties. Really, it would come primarily from traffic, which we do have the traffic report, which has been prepared by BL, reviewed by the town's peer review consultant. There are some offsite improvement recommendations to be reviewed with the state DOT that the peer reviewer asked us to pass along. Really, that's within their jurisdiction, and we can't really say what they're going to do yet, but BL is going to engage in conversations with DOT soon, and we'll keep the town apprised of those and where they're headed there. So granted, DOT doesn't act until locally we have an approval, so it's kind of chicken before the egg, but we try and have them at least be advised of what's happening. So if there's any big areas of concern, we can address it locally. Worst case scenario, if once we go through the local approval, there's a conflict with what DOT approves, we would have to go back and get a modification. But based on the traffic report that I've seen, and I think the initial comments that we've gotten now, most recently on a conference call yesterday from the peer reviewer, I think we're in good shape there. And particularly with that signalized entrance, it's going to help minimize any impacts and conflicts to the other surrounding properties.
Lane, do you have anything?
Not really. I mean, I was a little concerned about the traffic. I know there was a discussion about the number of crashes that are in that area, but it also posited that it could be when it's going from 2 lanes to 1 lane, which I can certainly believe, having traversed that many times myself. One thing I would say is it talked about whether car carriers could get in there. I've actually seen car carriers park along 195 outside there before, which always struck me as being very dangerous and unwise. I don't know if they're going to make some sort of provision to allow those to get into the property now, but I have seen that before.
Yeah, I have some truck turning. We did get some comments from the peer reviewers. Let me just see if I can pull those up. 1 second here. Okay. Yeah, so we did do some truck turning movements on the software that we have to evaluate, obviously, the accessibility for both sides of the development now. So we evaluated it obviously for a fire. Let me see here. Fire truck, right? And you can see the the circulation capabilities for the existing entrance and the new entrance. We did the same thing as well for the car carrier on the redevelopment side, and WB 67 for the retail restaurant side. So we have that. There were some tweaks that the peer reviewer want us to make in terms of some of the movements on site. And then obviously we did as well a dumpster, a trash truck for access to the new proposed dumpster enclosures for the redeveloped side. So we are taking that into account. Like I said, there are some tweaks that the peer reviewers want us to make, but that is definitely part of the conversation and something that we thought about when developing these plans.
Great.
And Lane, about your comments about the car crashes in that general area, our traffic report, obviously we noted those, and the peer reviewer noted, obviously that is a concern that they want us to pass along to DOT and see if there's anything that we can do, again, on their state highway in their jurisdiction to kind of minimize that.
Yeah.
Fix that,
Yeah.
remedy
They were,
that. I'm at loss for the right word.
yeah, they were asking.
So we'll
us
have
to
a
look-
conversation.
Right.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, like I said, the report I read talked about how it could be due to the 2 lanes going to 1. I've definitely seen people do stupid things there where they, somebody tries to accelerate from behind to get around somebody else, and I can totally believe that's what causes a lot of the friction there. There's nothing you can do about stupid people, so
Don't you wish there was?
yeah.
So,
But I'm good.
any
This
of-
is very thoughtful presentation, and I
Thank you.
appreciate that.
Thank you. Well, if you have any other questions or comments, please feel free to either contact me directly or funnel them through Jennifer. Right now, the timing is we're hoping to open the public hearing on November 21st, I want to say. We have a couple other meetings in between then and there. We've got Conservation Traffic Authority, but the public hearing itself is the 21st, and then to be continued if necessary to December 5th. So we're hoping, if we got an approval by the end of the year, I know that the tenants and my client are really excited and ready to jump right in and get started with the development. So we'd love to be operational if at all possible, even in 2023. That might be a little ambitious, but we'll have to see.
Thank you so much for coming and presenting. This helps us understand it so much better than if we're just looking at the blueprints and the renderings. This has been really very helpful. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thanks.
I know you all have an 8:30, right, Jen?
We do. So if Dory and Matt want to jump off and get ready for that meeting, and then if I have any other question, I mean,
Okay.
you're welcome to stay as well.
No, that's good. Thank you. I'll see you in 5 more minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Do you need me for anything else?
I
Cynthia?
don't think so, Jen. I think Steve and Lane and I just need to talk about next steps with the EDC for Thursday in terms of how we want to approach that.
Great. And then I can be at that meeting
Good.
just to, give a quick overview again. But I guess the way it works, this is my first time doing this development review, is that you guys are sort of cheerleaders, I guess, from the town's perspective, but as you know, Planning and Zoning Commission does not consider any, sort of jobs or tax revenue. They're looking at this, compliance with the zoning regulations and the inland wetlands regulations. So I'm sure you're well aware of that.
Yeah, I think, what we've done several times in the past, I'm sorry, Steve, I'm just jumping in.
Please go for it.
Is, if the EDC feels that this is, the right project for Mansfield, they'll write a letter of support and send it to PZC, but also to the council.
Yep.
So it is kind of getting the EDC on the record, supporting development. And sometimes, whether the PZC recognizes it or not, there will be some suggestions from the EDC.
Regarding,
Well, if it's something like what Lane just said.
landscape
Something to,
traffic. Yeah.
traffic and things like that. So that could happen.
One of the things I would like to see is, and Derek Delay mentioned this, is sort of some cross access availability, so that people, if they're going to get their car worked on, they can go and get a whatever. I guess it won't be coffee, but a sandwich or whatever they're going to serve there.
Yep.
And I just have some notes here. I want to talk to them about improved activation in front of Champagne Motors, because this is one parcel there. It's not, so we have to look at this as one parcel, even though it's going to be a condo. And then interior landscape parking, parking within the landscaping within the parking area, and then screening of the outdoor dining from the parking area. So those are things we're working on. We're also working on stormwater just to make sure that works. But I do have to jump off.
Yep.
And thank you. This is a good first meeting for me, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Congrats on the promotion too, by the way, Jen.
Thank you so much, Lee. Hello to Janet and the family. So take care.
You too.
So Steve, how would you like to do this? I don't, we could have Jennifer do a brief overview. I could also, when I send out the packet on Monday, is reference this meeting and people could watch the video too. I don't know if you want to bring Dory and Matt back into the Thursday. We've already got Wendy Burry from the Cultural Coalition.
Yeah, I
What
don't
do you
think
guys
we need to, yeah, I don't think we need to bring Dory and Matt back. They, like you said,
No.
this is recorded and the commission can watch it, so. So they wanted to potentially have this before planning and zoning by November 24th. Is that the date I heard?
I think it was the 21st, and so that was why for our group to review, we needed to do it at the October meeting, because I think our meetings, well, it is the 17th. I felt like there was, anyway. So I think the goal, if there was a letter, would be to get it by that time period. By the 21st.
Right. Nope, I'm with you. So I guess should Lane and I have a powwow and discuss, what we think, or is now the right time to do that, or?
I mean, if you have the time, now's the time. I know you've got to get the kids off to school, Steve. Maybe do, discuss briefly.
I mean, I think just briefly, I think it seems like a project worth supporting. Increased employment opportunities, increased grand list. It's a section of town that's already developed. We're not, taking over valuable agricultural or other type of lands. It's a retail space. It's in keeping with the area, and I think we both noted the two concerns that we had. Mine was impact the neighborhood behind, and Lane's was the traffic, which it sounds like they're addressing. I was happy to hear that they're going to have the storage, the use of the lot towards the rear is mainly storage, so there's not going to be as much activity back there, which would be the closest to the residential piece. And there's the buffer and the fence and the plantings and all that kind of stuff. So I'm encouraged. I think it's a good fit. I don't know what other feedback. I think I need to kind of, look it over a little bit longer. I like the idea, Jennifer's idea. Derek said, cross-site accessibility. If you're there to get your car fixed, you're definitely going to want to be able to walk somewhere to grab something to eat or just to kind of hang out or whatever. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Agreed. Just as a like hygiene thing, I think we have to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Is that right?
Yes.
So
Man, you want to make the motion?
yeah, I'd move that we accept the minutes from the May 19 meeting.
And I'll second. And then all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, excellent.
All right, so I'll reference the video or a video of this meeting, what I send out. And then I think between Jen giving an overview and then Steve, you and Lane just making some comments and see what they think. And then we can put together a letter if that's warranted.
Perfect. That sounds great.
Yep.
Lane, any words of wisdom for us this morning?
Buy low, sell high.
Seems like that's an intraday kind of thing right now.
Yeah.
The traffic study that you mentioned reading, where did you find that?
It was one of the links that was provided. I'm just looking here. It was the Weston and Sampson peer review thing. There were traffic comments in it.
Awesome. Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's down toward the end of the links, as Lane indicated, P882-3 peer review.
Okay. Excellent. Well, we did it. 8 a.m.
Yeah, thank you again. I'm sorry for the little
No worries.
snafu that happened. So we've rectified what planning's doing and what we're doing now. So we're good.
Awesome. Well, have a wonderful Friday, everyone. And Cynthia, I think I'll see you in an hour and a half.
Yes, you will.
All right.
All
Have a
right,
good day.
take care.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.